Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video I am doing, I think, part 3 of the comparisons and sort of second round of destashes of that huge estate haul of nail polish that I got. That was over 2,000 bottles and about 40 videos. In today's video I am continuing on with the colors by Llarowe, and as you can see this time I am focusing on the purples. So I did already sort of break down the purples into that part 1 that I did, which was all of my berry toned purples, and in today's video these are some of the cooler tones, although as you can see we do still have some that do lean berry, but not as berry as the berry ones, if that makes any sense. As always, I did try to group these into color categories, so I have some very light shades up at the top. We have some deeper shades, more gray leaning, the berry shades, deeper berry shades, and then some of our cool tone purples. So let's go ahead and see if we have any dupes of each other or any that are similar enough that I can destash some. Purple is my favorite color category. One of many, I should say. So this one is no doubt going to be rather difficult to whittle this down at all, but we need to see what we can do because this is a lot. This is about 45 bottles of just purple polish. So the first part of this I did really, really well. For my berry shades, I actually cut half of them, and then part 2 and part 3. No, this is part 4, isn't it? I'm losing track already, you guys. But yeah, for purples, I am definitely not expecting myself to be able to cut half of these. I would be happy if I was able to cut a third, but even that I feel is pushing it a little. As I said, purple is one of my very favorite color categories, so I think this is going to be kind of hard, so prepare yourself for some hemming and hawing. Let's go ahead and dig in. The first one is kind of easy because this one doesn't really have anything to compare it to. This is the most silver leaning purple. It is a hollow called My Big Girl Panties. This is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and I mean, look at that hollow. It is completely freaking my camera out. This one is beautifully strong. It has that linear flare, but this is a soft purple. So if you were to compare this to a straight up silver, this has a somewhat of a lavender or lilac base to it that creates that purple that you're seeing along the edges. Plus you have the rainbow on top. So I don't think this one is going to be any surprise to anybody. This is going to go into my keepsies pile because this one is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm a sucker for hollows and purples, so this is a keeper. All right, on to the next one. This is another one that doesn't really have anything to compare it to. This one is Teased, and it is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now, this one is interesting because it is a cream polish, but I did need 3 coats to reach full opacity. But look at that color. This is a really interesting sort of dusty, muted shade of purple. I feel like it's leaning a little bit blue on my screen right now as I'm filming, but it is a really nice shade. Now, I will say I'm not thrilled that it was a 3-coater. However, I will cut it a little bit of slack, and I'm going to try to remember that for any of the other ones that do lean kind of sheer on these. Is what I have noticed is over the course of me swatching on clear swatch sticks and then wearing that same polish, I often only need 2 on my nails. Mind you, I do have short nails currently, so just keep that in mind, but I have noticed that on a number of occasions when I've swatched on either these swatch sticks or these swatch wheels that I have that are clear, a 3-coater will only need 2 coats on my nail. So I will give this one a little bit of leniency that maybe a 3rd coat wasn't completely necessary. I do really like this color, so I want to at least keep it in my collection long enough to do some more comparisons and see if maybe I do have this type of a color. But for the time being, that one is a keeper. That one was Tease. All right, the next one I am going to do as a comparison, even though these are definitely not dupes, but they are kind of similar in that they are a dusty-ish purple with a green component. On the left we have It's an Alien, and on the right we have Renegade. So right off the bat you can see that the Alien one has a very strong green shimmer, and it's also a smaller particle, whereas Renegade has a larger particle size, maybe even a mini flaky in there, plus hollow. So they are 2 different finishes. So here on the top we have Renegade. That's 3 coats with a glossy top coat. And on the bottom is It's an Alien, also in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. So I figured I would compare these, but like I said, they are not dupes whatsoever, especially once swatched. It is really, really obvious how strong that green shimmer is in It's an Alien. That is a keeper, no doubt. That is amazing. Then we have Renegade, and again with the amazing holo. I will say in Renegade, the flakies aren't really in your face. You're mostly distracted by that holo, but when you look closely, you can see that it's adding these larger flecks of green in there. So you definitely get them on the nail. And this is another one that is really stunning. I mean, all of these were in my keepsies pile because I liked them. So not a surprise that I'm liking all of these, but spoiler, I think I'm keeping Renegade as well. I love this kind of a finish. I absolutely adore holo mixed with other things, because even though I do love a straight up linear holo, when you add shimmer and flakies, you get this complex look on the nail that is just amazing. And I love this color. So those both are staying. We're off to a horrible start with 4 of 4 in the keeps pile, but again, not a surprise to anyone. Okay, on to the next 2. These 2 are in a similar color category, so maybe we can make a cut here. We have A Lot More Help Sucking Up. I believe that was another one from the Pretty Woman collection. And then we have Blue Banana. Now these are 2 different formulations. Again, we have a holo in More Help, and then in Blue Banana we have a shimmer in there. I think you can see that pink glow. So 2 different finishes. Let's see how they look on the nail, though. They are in a very similar color category. Both of these are in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, Blue Banana is more of a cream actually on the nail. You do see the shimmer in there, but it's not super obvious. It doesn't add a glow like the green did in It's an Alien. And then A Lot More Sucking Up, A Lot More Help Sucking Up, that is a long name, doesn't quite have that linear flare that the other 2 that we saw did, but it does have a beautiful scattered look. And what I really like about this color grouping is this does have a lot of blue in it. It's kind of this almost denim-y purple. It's a gorgeous color. Do I need both though? Wow, that is the question. I want to keep the holo. A Lot More Help Sucking Up is just beautiful, and I love the specialty finish. So that one is going to be staying. Blue Banana is, as I said, kind of a more simple formula by comparison. You do see that pink glow, and I want to say there are like slightly larger flecks of something else in there, but again, I don't really see that coming up on the nail. But it is a really nice smoky, denim-y blurple color. It's out of focus, but it's very pretty. Yeah, that's a nice color. I think, wow, I might be saying this a lot in this group, like I've pre-warned, purple is my favorite color category, so I knew this one was going to be particularly hard, but this is a unique color. So I want to at least keep this one in my collection until I can do some more comparisons of other brands and see if I already have something like this, because if I don't, this is a nice formula of this color in 2 coats, even if none of those other specialty ingredients really show up. So even if I mainly have to use this as a cream, this could be a really nice color when I want this type of a color for using as an undie under some colors, or on its own when I just want a more simplistic finish. So Blue Banana is also in the keeps pile. We are maintaining our 100% keep so far. All right, on to the next 2. We have Blown Away and Purple Pizzazz. These 2 are again in a similar color of purple. We have holo in both, but they are a different particle size. I think you can sort of see down here where you have the holo. I don't know if that's as obvious on camera, but I feel like the holo in Blown Away is finer milled, whereas it's a slightly larger particle in Purple Pizzazz. Plus, Purple Pizzazz has those purple flakies in it. So you have a deep sort of dusty purple. And what's interesting is when you tip the bottle again with these multichromes, Blown Away is a multichrome. So see there, you've got blues and reds popping up, plus that linear flare. And I want to say it might even have a shimmer because you're seeing a blue glow. In person, I'm seeing a purple glow, so it might have a shifting shimmer as well as that multichromatic shift plus the hollow. So these might not actually be as comparable as I was hoping that they would be. Let's go ahead and see them on the nail. We have Purple Pizzazz on top with 2 coats and then Blown Away in 3. You can see those beautiful purple flakes in Purple Pizzazz. That is really nice and twinkly. That has a nice sparkle. And then Blown Away comes off as sort of this dusty color, but look at that blue. If that blue shows up in certain lighting while you're wearing it, that would look amazing. As I said, I'm not seeing that in person right now. I'm seeing from my angle a purple glow. But again, you guys, they're not even comparable to each other, even though they're the closest color-wise of the entire groups of purples. I'm keeping both of them. Ugh, we're not doing so well, but we're keeping both. So that was Blown Away and Purple Pizzazz. Yeah. Hopefully I can destash some of these. All right, in the next grouping, we are going to compare the next 3. So we have Go Straight, Dainty, and Lethal. And these again are different finishes. So Go Straight is a hollow with a little flaky in it. I think you can see that beautiful hot pink little flaky in there. And then Dainty and Lethal are like a multichromatic flaky, or maybe that's a flaky. No, they're definitely both multichromatic. Hang on. Let's do these tipped up where you can see the shifts. Both of these have a multichromatic component. There you can see that beautiful red or pink plus an orange popping up. So you have a larger flaky, not a huge flaky, but a larger particle by comparison in Lethal. And then in Dainty, you have a slightly smaller flaky. But I mean, look at the shifts on those. Wow, that is really pretty. Is this going to be another tough decision? Let's see them on the nail. So from top to bottom, we have Lethal in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, Dainty also in 3 coats, and then Go Straight in 2 coats. So not surprising, the flaky ones up here have the 3 coats. That's quite common with that sort of a formulation because they are essentially either a clear base or a very lightly tinted base to accommodate as much flakies as they have in there. And then you have a hollow formula for Go Straight. So that is the most opaque of these 3. Whew. Wow. So yeah, Go Straight is a keeper. That one is just absolutely gorgeous. That has a nice purple glow. And I do think it's different from Purple Pizzazz. Let's just do that, a quick comparison of those on the nail. It's actually a little bit darker than Purple Pizzazz. By comparison, Purple Pizzazz has a little bit more gray in it, especially on camera. Now in person, it's not quite that grayed out, but it does have a silverish ness to it by comparison. Go Straight has more of a moody purple base. So of the 2 flakies, do I need both? Lethal, like I said, has that larger flaky in it. I think it also has some maybe micro glitters. And then Dainty has more of a finer milled flaky, so it comes off a little bit smoother. Now Lethal and Dainty both could be really fun toppers. Oh goodness. But they do have very similar shifts. So do I need both? Do I need both? Yeah, I think a lot of the shifts on them are very, very similar. Now, I will say in other lighting that there is that, see that blue component that I don't really see as strongly in Lethal. So Dainty has that blue sort of glow. Again, I'm not seeing that blue glow in person, but it does show up on the swatch stick as I'm moving it around in my lighting here in the room. And then Lethal has those little glitters. So again, they're different, but they do have, for the most part, a very similar shift. So do I need both? I was hoping to maybe cut one, but what I'm actually thinking in this instance is Dainty might actually be a good one to use as a polish all on its own. You can see that that one might be a better one to actually wear all on its own because it is a little bit more of a smoother finish. And then Lethal could be one to use as a topper. So again, this top row is not doing me any favors. I think we're keeping both, at least until I can compare these to my current collection as well as any other brands that I am keeping. This is only the first brand of many from this estate haul. It was the biggest chunk and has taken me a lot longer than I meant to push these out to you guys. But yeah, we're keeping both. That was Dainty and Lethal. On to the next three. Now, these again are not going to be dupes. We have Topaz Fire, Winter's Dark Nights, and It's a Gift. Like I said, these are not comparable to each other, but they are up there in the corner, so I figured we would just look at all three of them. It's a Gift is by far the most different. It has chunky glitters, all in this sort of a moody, almost blackened purple. And then Winter's Dark Night there in the middle has more of a gray base that we'll see once it's swatched with a purpley pink glow. And then Topaz Fire there at the end is more of a dusty deep violet that has a beautiful hollow and again with a pink glow that actually on camera is catching as blue. So that might have some shifts in it as well, which actually I think it does. Let's tilt these. We're going to take It's a Gift off to the side because we want to look at these two that have, again, shifts at the edges. So again, on the left is Topaz Fire, Winter's Dark Nights is on the right. So you can see the different particles, you can see the different hollow, and there you've got pink, and then you do see that blue there in Topaz Fire. And in person, I'm seeing green and gold, so that one has so many beautiful shifts in it. Whew, this is going to be another tough one. Let's go ahead and see them on the swatches. Let's go ahead and first look at It's a Gift. This is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. This is the most different of the 3, even though, like I said, all 3 of them are completely different. Look at those glitters. So this is a nice vampy dark shade, but you do get all of those beautiful twinkles from that glitter. I would say this one should probably be worn with a glitter smoother because it is a chunky formula. You have all of that amazing iridescent glitter, which I absolutely adore. And then look at those shifts that you're going to see in different lighting. You've got greens, golds, oranges, reds. Oh, this is so amazing. This is not going anywhere. It's a gift. It's a keeper for sure. Okay. The other 2, we have Winter's Dark Night there at the top with 3 coats, and then Topaz Fire with 2. So of the 2, Topaz Fire again has that sort of a hollow formulation that the maker used where it is a nice solid 2-coater. The formula for Winter's Dark Night did need 3 coats for full opacity, but again on these it might be a little bit different than if I were to wear this one. And this one has a beautiful blackened purple base with a beautiful larger particled hollow plus that shimmer. So again, very, very pretty. And 2 very different polishes. I mean, these 2, like I said, do not compare at all. Hopefully on camera you guys can tell that. I know sometimes as I'm editing, I'm seeing what's coming up on my screen, my computer screen as I'm editing. I'm like, oh yeah, these did not look on camera nearly as different as they did in person. But yeah, these 2 are very different and I like both of them. Like I said before, I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but I am a sucker for purple. So Topaz Fire and Winter's Dark Night are both staying. 1 whole row, all keeps. Yep. Okay. As we're getting into the second row, I do see 3 here that are, again, sort of grouped into a cluster here that may or may not prove to have some, not dupes, but maybe similar ones that we can compare. So on the left, we have Siren's Song. In the middle is A Mother's Love. And then The Party Is Over is there on the right. And actually, I'm noticing that maybe Siren's Song could potentially be compared to It's a Gift, but no, it is way lighter. I take that back. It does have the chunky glitters in it, but a very different base color. That is more of a smoky, dusty purple. All of these are sort of in the smoky range. A Mother's Love has a lot of silver in it, as well as like a larger particled shimmer. You see that pink glow. And then The Party Is Over has hollow as well as a mini micro flaky or a larger particled shimmer. There you can see that sort of a golden bronze on top. So again, 3 different finishes, but they are in a similar color range. Like I said, that sort of a smoky, dusty purple. So the Party Is Over is in 2 coats, and then the other 2 are in 3 coats. And there I think you can see that smoky quality. These all sort of have that dusty lean to them. They are, of course, different in their exact colorations. I would say the grayest is A Mother's Love, and then the Party Is Over has that more of a dusty silver lean, maybe because it does have that hollow particle in it. And then Siren's Song is pretty sheer still, but again, I feel like once it's on the nail, it should be fine. And look at the rainbows that you're going to get from that glitter. That is just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. That's another one that I think could make a really fun topper over other colors because it is a sheerer formula. So Siren's Song is not going anywhere. I am a sucker not only for purples, but for iridescent glitter. Now, do I need both of these, of The Party Is Over and A Mother's Love? Now, again, they're not duplicates of each other, but in this shade range, I do feel like I could potentially cut one. Potentially, as I say that and then second guess myself. So again, another particle that I'm a sucker for are these silver holographic flakies that A Mother's Love has. Bee's Knees Lacquer was, I think, the first brand that really caught my attention with them. And I know I had seen them before. And maybe Kathleen & Co. also had one that sort of caught my attention. But before that, I don't know that I had really paid any attention to them. And ever since I did start to notice them, they really just are one of my favorite components to see. And I still don't have anything like this one with that component, with this color. So A Mother's Love is staying. And then the last one, this one is that dark smoky purple. The Party Is Over. This was a PDTLIB box exclusive. And again, with the hollow and the dusty colors. I mean, this, of those 3, I really was hoping that I would cut one, but you guys, this color, I feel like on camera, it's coming off like a dull gray charcoal, but in person, this has that smoky purple. It is a dark color, but not as gray as I feel like it's coming off on camera. That's staying too. I really like that one. Okay, so that one was The Party Is Over. Next up, am I going to destash any of these? Y'all, send help. We're going to do the next 4. We have Woman from Tokyo, Rest in Pieces, This Girl Is on Fire, Help, and an Oops. That is what I've called the Plum Multichrome Oops. So these are all, again, in a similar deep plum sort of a purple. Now, again, they're not going to be dead on dupes because all of them do have slight variances. Woman from Tokyo has the most linear holographic. Then in Rest in Pieces, we have either a micro hollow glitter or there's something in there. I don't know if you can see that blue glitter. That, I believe, is a hollow. So you do get sort of hollow rainbows in a like larger particled flare, which is interesting. Then you do have a little bit of a gold shimmer. And then This Girl Is on Fire has a larger particle shimmer, a little bit of hollow in there. Actually, a lot of bit of hollow. Wow, look at that. So that is another hollow. And then the Oops has a multichrome. So there is more warm colors in this. You've got pinks and reds, golds. There might even be a little bit of green. Plus it does have a micro glitter in there, adding a beautiful twinkle. So from left to right, these actually are all in 2 coats. So from left to right, the most hollow is Woman from Tokyo. The second one is Rest in Pieces. Then here we have This Girl Is on Fire, Help. And then the last one is that multichrome Oops. So I don't know how different these are going to look on your screen. They are similar. These are definitely grouped together for a reason. I don't know that I would necessarily need all 4 of these, but I am going to do a little bit of a rearranging here because I think that This Girl Is on Fire would be more suited to do hollow to hollow and then a larger particled glitter to larger particled glitter, with Rest in Pieces being compared to that plum Oops. So there we have the lineup. I'm going to do this by pairs to hopefully make this a little bit easier. So This Girl Is on Fire, Help, is on the top. Woman from Tokyo is on the bottom. That definitely has the most impressive hollow of the two. And both of them are pretty similar in tone, although Woman from Tokyo has more of sort of this blackened quality to it. So it's got a richer, deeper, blackened jewel tone, if that makes any sense. And I love that you can see a red glow. I don't know if that, there we go. See that red glow? That is very impressive. And then This Girl is on Fire, Help, has more of a scattered hollow by comparison. But because of that, because they are pretty similar, I mean, there is a larger particled, like, little fleck in This Girl is on Fire, Help. But a lot of the hollow didn't really translate as much as it did in Woman from Tokyo. So I think for that reason, Woman from Tokyo is definitely staying. And I'm going to make myself do it because I have yet to destash anything so far. And if I don't destash at least one, I'm pretty sure y'all will be mad at me. I need to destash something. So This Girl is on Fire, Help is going to be our first casualty of the destash because it is, I feel, close enough to Woman from Tokyo to fill the void, so to speak, in the collection. So it's going to be our first one down. Then we have the Oops versus Rest in Pieces. I'm actually kind of wondering if it might have been an Oops of Rest in Pieces, but Rest in Pieces doesn't really have that multi-chrome. So there is the Oops, there is Rest in Pieces. I really like the particle size in Rest in Pieces. That has that blue particle that I can see popping up. So I really, really like that one. Yeah. I mean, there is that larger particle size, but it's more of a red sparkle. But there's also a little bit of a red sparkle in Rest in Pieces. So I'm trying to decide if I can let one go. And I think we're going to make myself do it. We're going to keep Rest in Pieces and get rid of the Oops because I really need to get rid of at least a few. Okay, so there we have it. 2 destashed finally with that color grouping. Okay, on to the next 2. These again are not dupes, but they are close in color. We have Beautiful Karma and Stars at Night. So again, 2 different finishes. Beautiful Karma has a shimmer, whereas Stars at Night has those sort of star glitters. It's a beautiful, like silvery, twinkly glitter, or maybe a micro flaky. I actually can't tell on that one, but it is nice and sparkling. It adds a beautiful twinkle. Let's see them on the nail. These are both in 3 coats. Stars at Night is on top. Beautiful Karma is there on the bottom. So Beautiful Karma is more of like this berry leaning purple, whereas Stars at Night is more of a deeper true purple. And yeah, I am loving those glitters or flakies or whatever those are. That adds a beautiful starry look to the nail. And at least for right now, I'm just not really feeling Beautiful Karma. So I'm going to go with it because I haven't destashed very many in this video. And I'm okay, I think, letting this one go. We do have a few more in that sort of shade range that aren't quite so squishy. So I think I prefer those. Maybe. I mean, this does have a beautiful glow to it, but I'm gonna do it. Beautiful Karma is getting the boot, and Stars at Night is in the keep pile. Next 2, again, not dupes in the least, but we're going to compare them anyways because they are close in color. We have Humility on the left and Connie, You Saucy Minks on the right. Now these both have a beautiful component in them that is hard to see. Well, mainly this one has the component that's hard to see. That has sort of this shifting shimmer that has a green to gold to orange, maybe I think I'm seeing on camera. And then the one on the left, that is Humility, has hollow and flakies. So these are both stunning, stunning colors. Look at the larger flakies there, that sort of aqua green that you're seeing. Let's see how these look on the nail. These are Connie, You Saucy Minks on the top in 3 coats, and then Humility is in 2 coats. So again, these are not dupes necessarily. Connie is more of a deeper plummy purple, whereas Humility is more of a deep berry. Again, when I'm talking berries in this grouping, these were more purple than true berries. So when I compare these to another berry, they might be a little bit different than that first range. It is a beautiful finish though. I really like how that looks on the nail. You can see some flakies in there. You've got the linear flare. Not quite, well, not quite a true linear flare. It's more like maybe a scattered linear flare, like a larger particle. But both are really pretty. I don't really see any of that multichrome in Connie, You Saucy Minks, at least not in this lighting. So if that might be the case, do I need both of them? I mean, I really like the deep tone of Connie, but I really like the components that are in Humility. So I think that's going to clench it. Humility is going to stay. And then we're going to go with it and Destash Connie, You Saucy Minks. Yeah. There. Okay. Already starting to second guess myself. We're going with it. All right. The next three are our deeper, like berry leaning purples. We have Fall in Love with Chicago, Just a Newbie, and Belle de Louvain. And again, these aren't necessarily dupes, but they are comparable in the type of color that they are. Got a little bit of polish on that one bottle there. So there they are. Hopefully you guys can see the tone. There's sort of this deep berry shade of all of these. I think I'm going to do a slight rearranging though and put Belle de Louvain a little bit closer to Fall in Love, because in the bottle they're a little bit more similar. The Just a Newbie one has more of a hollow component that's obvious in the bottle, plus that larger particled shimmer in sort of a golden orange. So we have Fall in Love with Chicago in 2 coats. In the middle is Belle de Louvain in 3 coats. And then Just a Newbie is also in 3 coats. So these, again, are not dupes. They are comparable, at least as far as a color grouping goes, but very different. Fall in Love is one that has a larger particled either shimmer or maybe a mini flaky in there, which I definitely see in person. I think on camera it's coming off as maybe just a twinkly sparkle. Belle de Louvain has some hollow glitter as well as multichrome flakies. And then Just a Newbie does have that flare of hollow, but maybe not as linear as I thought it might be, but it is a beautiful color. I am a sucker for this deep tone of almost a red leaning purple. That is very nice. So Belle de Louvain is one that has a multichrome something in it. There you can see some of the green and gold popping up, some orange, plus you've got the multichrome flakies and holographic glitter. So Belle de Louvain is definitely one that I'm going to keep. I really like the finish on that one. Of these two, Fall in Love with Chicago and Just a Newbie. Fall in Love with Chicago is from PolishCon September 2016. It also has a flaky in it, but it might be like an iridescent flaky. And it is a beautiful fall color, but I actually like the deeper tone of Just a Newbie. See that sort of almost wine, especially on camera, that's coming off as like an oxblood. I'm keeping Just a Newbie, and I actually think I'm going to go ahead and let Fall in Love with Chicago go. I'm just not feeling it as much as those other two. And I think I'm okay with letting it go, so we're going to go with it. So the Fall in Love with Chicago is going to go in the Destash. All right, well, at least that's 5 down. 5 out of 45 bottles. Oh my goodness. On to the last row. We have these two that we're going to compare. We have You Sexy Thing and Giant Giraffes in My Yard. Again, these are not dupes. They have a slightly different formulation. They have different ingredients. You Sexy Thing has more of a like deep purple with a pink or red flash on the face of it. And then Giant Giraffes in My Yard has a larger particled hollow, maybe like almost a micro glitter. And then you have a mini flaky in there instead of a shimmer. Both of these are in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. So there on the top one, you can see that Giant Giraffes in My Yard has a little bit of that like flaked appearance. And then you have a smoother finish in You Sexy Thing. but you do get a nice glow from that shimmer. Oh my goodness. I was actually leaning more towards Giant Giraffes in my yard, but You Sexy Thing is really nice. I mean, that is a deep but beautiful shade of purple. And Giant Giraffes in my yard, I'm loving the mix of the hollow and the little flakies in there. Oh, you guys. I think we're keeping both of these as well. Yeah. In the bottle, I was actually really thinking that You Sexy Thing would be one that I destash, simply because it is a more simplistic formula compared to the Giant Giraffe. But yeah, once swatched, it is really pretty. So both of those are going to be keepers. Hopefully we can find a few more here to destash. But we are also getting into the row that I'm pretty sure has 2 of the UP polishes in it. And you all know how I feel about UP. Speaking of which, the next 2 has one that I'm pretty sure has UP in it. We have P51 and Figgy Pudding. And there is the possible UP one. Look at that sparkle. So yeah, UP or UP sibling pigments just have something very special about the shifts in them and the type of sparkle. So if this is not a true like OG UP, I feel like this is one of the older variations or versions of it, if not the OG. And I mean, this is dazzling. It is sparkly and twinkly. It has a beautiful green up there that I don't think is coming off very well on camera, but you can see golden orange. This is amazing. I don't think it's going to be surprising to anybody, but that's spoiler, probably going to be a keeper. And then Figgy Pudding has a larger like hollow flaky in it, and that might be it. But let's go ahead and see them both swatched. They are in a very similar type of purple. So Figgy Pudding is on top and P51 is there on the bottom. Both of these are in 3 coats. So not surprisingly, oftentimes polish with that UP or UP sibling pigment is sheerer because of the delicate pigmentation. You don't want to overcrowd it with a lot of opaque pigmentation because you will drown it out, so I hear. So Figgy Pudding has those beautiful holographic flakies. That is a lovely shade. And then of course P51. That is not going anywhere. That is incredible. So that one is a keeper for sure. And then I just need to decide if I'm keeping Figgy Pudding. As I mentioned before, I absolutely adore hollow flakies, but I also feel like this one is a pretty simplistic version. It's a very simplistic recipe. And for right now, I'm okay letting this one go. So Figgy Pudding is going to go ahead and be destashed. On to the next one, which doesn't really have anything to compare it to. This one is called Mercy, and this is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And by comparison to all of these other purples, this is like a deep red. But when I was doing my reds, this had too much purple in it to be compared to a red. So it's one of those interesting shades. And like I said, it's in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. In the bottle, it has an amazing hollow. I don't feel like that really comes off as spectacularly once on the nail, but it is a very unique sort of brown leaning purpley red. It's hard to pinpoint. Like I said, when I was comparing it to the reds, it was too purple. When I'm comparing it to the purples, it's too brown. So it's a very unusual shade, and for that reason, I think it's staying. I want to at least see how this compares to all of the other shades that I already have, because if I don't have a color like this already, I definitely want this in my collection. So Mercy is staying. Next up, we have 2 more that definitely aren't dupes, but they are the closest in color family. We have Purple Rain and Life in the Fast Lane. So again, these aren't dupes. They have a completely different recipe. You have that smaller particle. By comparison, it is still what I would call a larger particled shimmer, but only because when you compare it to a shimmer like this one, which was You Sexy Thing, it definitely has more of a particle size you can see, whereas this is more of like a velvety finish. And that one is in like a mix of greens and blues. And then Life in the Fast Lane has like a micro, maybe not even a micro glitter, maybe just a glitter in a fuchsia. So these are both in 3 coats. Life in the Fast Lane is on top, Purple Rain is on the bottom. And these are both very nice colors, but honestly, I'm not really feeling Life in the Fast Lane right now. It is a berry shade, but it's berry on berry on berry, whereas Purple Rain has that blue and green in it, which means I'm keeping Purple Rain. And Life in the Fast Lane, that fuchsia berry leaning with glitter, is going to be in the Destash. All right, the next one doesn't really have anything to compare it to. Again, this is Let's Get Freaky. This is it in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and this is the bluest, like cool toned purple. And compared to all of these other ones, some of which might be cool toned, some of which might be warm toned. I'm not very good at like warm or cool, but visually speaking, there's not really anything to compare this one to. It is the darkest shade. It's also a pretty simple formulation. There's not really anything else in here. It's kind of a light shimmer. It is sort of glowy, but not a boom in your face glow like the one in Ack It's an Alien. But it's a lovely, lovely shade. So Let's Get Freaky, I think I do want to keep. Again, I'm a sucker for purples, and even though this is a simple formulation, it is a stunning color, and I want to see how it compares to a few of the other shades that I have, because this is a beautiful fall to winter purple, and I want to make sure I at least have something in this range if I don't already. So Let's Get Freaky is staying. Then we are going to compare these two. We have They Call Me a Rock Star and Frozen Village. Again, not dupes necessarily, but they're the closest I could find to each other. They Call Me a Rock Star is a flake bomb. Look at all of those beautiful colors. And then by comparison, we have a larger particled shimmer in Frozen Village. Here they are on the nail. We have 3 coats of both. Frozen Village is on top. They Call Me a Rock Star is on the bottom. So both of these are really nice shade. I think by comparison, we have a more cool tone in They Call Me a Rock Star and a little bit more of a warm tone in Frozen Village that has sort of this berry lean. And of course, that berry lean is not coming through at all on camera. On camera, they both have that sort of cool gray leaning purple. So that might be one of the shimmers that I'm seeing in Frozen Village that has that warmer berry shade. You guys are probably seeing that as a blue, although there we go. See that fuchsia in there? That's more of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing all fuchsia berry from my end. But for the time being anyways, I'm actually leaning more towards the flaky bomb of They Call Me a Rock Star. So I think because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and let Frozen Village go and keep They Call Me a Rock Star. All right, next up we have Dream Big and Voodoo. Voodoo is actually another one that I think might have a UP in it. We have Dream Big and Voodoo. There you can see that particle size. That's what I'm talking about as far as the UP. I'm not sure, again, if this is true UP or if it is a UP sibling, but it has a beautiful shift and a stunning, stunning twinkle. By comparison, the one in Dream Big is a little bit more of finely milled without being completely finely milled. In fact, over here you can see a ton of that shimmer. That I think is one of those red to gold shifting shimmers. Both of them are in a very similar type of shade of purple, although there's more, I feel, opacity in Dream Big and more sheer quality to Voodoo. 3 coats of each. And yeah, you can definitely see there's more pigmentation in Dream Big, more of a sheer formula of Voodoo. And again, I don't think this is going to come as any surprise. Voodoo is going to go ahead and stay in the keeps pile. Even if that isn't original UP, I love the twinkle on that. It is simply gorgeous. And then do I want to keep Dream Big? I mean, it is stunning, and it does have some shifts to a beautiful electric green, pink, and gold. I don't know if, there you go, you can see some of the gold. I don't know if that green again is going to make an appearance or not, but I am keeping Voodoo, and I think because of that, I'm going to go ahead and make myself get rid of Dream Big. It's beautiful, but if I was going to lean towards this kind of a purple and pick Voodoo, I wouldn't necessarily need this, so we're going to go with it. Dream Big is going to get the boot. Now we're moving on to our last little chunk. If you guys have stuck around this long, thank you so much. We are on our last 5 bottles to compare, and these first 3 are actually very comparable to each other, I feel. We have Caviar Wishes and Kiana Reeves Dreams. Living on Borrowed Time, and actually another Living on Borrowed Time. So I actually got 2 of those from this haul. Didn't realize it at the time until I was doing swatches. And the reason why both of them are in this video and I didn't just immediately destash one is technically I think these might have been different batches, so they are slightly different, which is why we're going to compare them and see if I need both. But as you can see, they're all pretty simplistic in their formulations. They have a scattering of hollow in them. All 3 of them have a pretty nice 2-coat formula. So from left to right, we have Caviar Wishes, and then the 2 versions of Borrowed Time. As you can see, there is a slight difference between those 2. One is lighter and a little bit pinker, so I don't know what's up with that necessarily, but look at Caviar Wishes. Look at that color. This is super impressive with the coloration. This is amazing. It is a simple formula, like I said, and I honestly am not really seeing the hollow at all on this. I don't know if it bled. Yeah, look at that. I don't really see hollow at all, but because of this intense, rich color, I'm not that mad at it. This is a beautiful color. So Caviar Wishes and Kiana Reeves Dreams is staying in the collection. I really like the color that ended up being, even though the hollow is not really making an appearance. It is a stunning, stunning color. Of the 2 Living on Borrowed Time, obviously I don't need both. And I think, I honestly don't know which was the intended recipe, if it was meant to be pinker or more purple. And I think I want to keep the more purple of the 2. So the one that's slightly pinker down there at the bottom is going to go ahead and be in the destash. And then this version that is slightly more purple is going to be in the keep pile. All right, you guys, on to the last 2. We have Magically Delicious and Purpleicious Lovers. These are, again, probably not dupes, but they are sort of similar in tone and that they are both hollows. So Magically Delicious actually has more of a linear flare. We're definitely going to see that on the swatch. You have more of a scattered hollow in Purpleicious Lovers. There's also a couple more components going on in Purpleicious Lovers. You have that sort of a golden shimmer, plus there's a slightly larger like mini flaky in a silver or maybe even a micro glitter. I think you can sort of see those subtly twinkling there. Amid all of the other things going on, there is also a golden shimmer in Magically Delicious. So here they are on the nail. Purpleicious Lovers is on top in 2 coats. Magically Delicious is on the bottom in 3. And there you can definitely tell the difference, how amazing that hollow is in Magically Delicious, whereas you have more of a scattering of the hollow in Purpleicious Lovers. And while it is beautiful, I'm just not feeling it when compared to an amazing hollow like Magically Delicious. So that made this decision fairly easy. Magically Delicious is going in the keep pile, and Purpleicious Lovers is going to be destashed. All right, well, there we go. It went about as abysmally up at the top as I figured it would be. How many did we actually end up destashing? 10. Okay, so 10 out of 45. We definitely did not reach a third. Yeah, that's not even a quarter. Anyways, this is the most abysmal that I've done on destashing. But as I said before, and as I said throughout this entire video, purple is one of my favorite colors. There's a lot of incredible polishes that this maker did in purples. We had a lot of really standout, unique polishes here too. So yeah, 10 out of 45. Yikes. In any case, let me know down below which ones were your favorites. Did I destash any that you thought I shouldn't? Or did I do as badly as you were thinking I would at the beginning? Hopefully you guys had a good time in any case. As always, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish. This whole process has been just an amazing experience. I definitely did get overwhelmed there at the end, but I feel like I'm getting back into the rhythm of things finally. And I am having a good time grouping these up and comparing them, even though, like I did in this video, I'm not always doing fantastically in destashing very many of them, but it's nice to sort of remind myself of what I did keep and see, like I did down here, if I accidentally did keep any duplicates. And I did have 2 of Living on Borrowed Time. So I was able to get rid of one of those and clear up a little bit of space in the end for how many I'm going to have total from this, because at the end I do plan on giving you guys an overall count of what I've kept once all of the comparisons are done and how many are going into the Destash. And I will say my tastes have again sort of evolved, and I know when I was doing a lot of my Destashes, I kept saying, I don't really wear blackened polishes. I don't really wear blackened polishes. Over and over and over again, I was saying that. And this past fall to winter, guess what I was wearing? Any of the blackened polishes that I could find that I still had in my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a pass to go through that at some point here, but after I do the rest of the comparisons. But there was 45 purple polishes. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in that next one.